Exposed, the incredible journey of becoming a pretend girlfriend, a heartwarming transformation. May, a 28-year-old waitress, weaves through rows of booths at Rosie's diner like a seasoned performer, her heart racing with each order she takes. The clattering plates, sizzling bacon, and cheerful chatter create a melody she's known her entire life. But today, that music feels distant. After her father's stroke, the weight of her family's financial troubles presses heavily on her shoulders. Every shift at Rosie's and every late night at the grocery store means sleepless nights, but love for her parents keeps her going. Little did she know, everything was about to change. As she wipes down the last counter, May overhears the thick tension rising between two patrons gossiping about Jake, the town's former golden boy. He was once adored, now he's the pariah after a brutal breakup, a shadow of his former self. Curiosity tugs at May, and feeling a kind of wild desperation, she approaches him, heart hammering in her chest. Jake's icy blue eyes soften slightly as he meets her gaze. He proposes a daring deal, pretend to be his girlfriend, an act that could help him reclaim his reputation. At that moment, she's torn. The thought of bills piling high and her father's health consuming her thoughts makes her nod, a flicker of hope igniting the suffocating despair. The next few weeks feel surreal, the glittering charity galas, the whispers of judgment, the weight of scrutiny facing her at every turn. The townsfolk cast sidelong glances, judging her for associating with someone like Jake. Somewhere beneath the surface, May feels her own insecurities surfacing. But as the weeks pass and the social facade continues, she begins to peel back the layers of Jake's loneliness. He shares his own burdens, revealing his struggles with expectations and the crushing loneliness that comes with wealth. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Emotions swirl within her, pulling her closer to him in unexpected ways. Just as May feels the stirrings of love blossoming in her chest, she remembers her parents' hopes for her. They sit her down, eyes filled with worry, craving the daughter they know, the one who values humility over the glamorous charm of wealth. They fear losing her in a world that feels alien, a world where flash outweighs heart. Then, a crisis strikes their town. A storm threatens not just their homes, but their very souls, binding the community together in ways that May had only dreamed of. In the chaos, she faces an excruciating choice. Will she remain tethered to her family's expectations or embrace this unexpected love that fills her heart? As the storm rages outside, May stands at the precipice of a decision. Feeling the clash between duty and desire. Torn between two worlds, she realizes she must choose. Will it be the steady path her family sees, or the unforeseen passion igniting within her? The thunder rolls, echoing the tempest brewing in her heart, and a question hangs in the air. What does it truly mean to be authentic when the world demands a facade? The town watches, breath held, waiting for May's next move, and with that, her story is far from over. The storm had transformed the town into a wild symphony of wind and rain, rattling the windows of the diner where May stood, heart racing. She had made a choice, but uncertainty still clung to her like mist. The juxtaposition of her father's steady hand, the one that used to fix everything, and the chaos outside churned within her. "May, are you all right?" Rosie, her boss, interrupted her thoughts, peering at her with concern etched across her face. "Yeah, just thinking," May replied absently, wiping her hands on her apron. "It's a tough night." "The storm's rattling everyone," Rosie said with a sympathetic nod. "You and Jake should be safe at home, not out there." Home. May's heart thudded harder at the thought. Home was where her family needed her most, yet the pull from Jake's world felt equally strong. She couldn't shake how he made her laugh, a fragile solace amid the turmoil. As the rain beat against the windows, she imagined him standing there, his usually confident demeanor replaced by vulnerability. "Why don't you go check on him?" Rosie suggested, brushing her hair back. "I'll handle things here." May hesitated, glancing outside. The town looked different in this light, dark and menacing. Maybe I should just stay put. Go. This storm won't last forever. You need to see where your heart is at. With that, Rosie turned, leaving May to weigh the words that echoed in her mind. Taking a deep breath, she snatched her jacket, pushing through the door and into the unforgiving deluge. The storm howled around her as she made her way to Jake's South family estate, the wind stinging her cheeks like an unwelcome reminder. But with each step, her resolve grew. She needed to seize the moment. When she arrived, the grand house loomed like a fortress, its windows glaring at her with harsh lighting. She knocked, the sound muffled by the torrential rain. It felt like eternity before she heard footsteps, and when the door finally opened, Jake stood there drenched and disheveled, his blue eyes widened in surprise. "May?" he breathed, almost reverently. "What are you doing here?" I wanted to check on you," she stammered, heart racing. He stepped aside, and she entered, shivering as she shook off the rain. The spacious room felt cold compared to the storm outside, and shadows danced against the walls. "I was worried," she added, her voice steadying. "About everything." "Me too," he admitted, running a hand through his hair. "It's been a nightmare. I only thought of myself." He paused, guilt swirling in his gaze. "How do you keep pushing past everything?" "Love keeps me going," she replied instinctively, surprising herself. "Love and responsibility. I can't let my family down." He studied her, his gaze piercing. "And what about what you want?" The question hung in the air, heavy and charged. May shifted uncomfortably, the walls closing in. The truth gnawed at her. Her heart was paving its own path, a road that wound through uncharted territory. "I don't know," she confessed. "What if I'm not brave enough to follow it?" Jake stepped closer, and the distance between them vanished. "What if you are?" The ground shifted beneath her. With all the noise around them, in that moment, everything faded except their intertwined fate. Could she break free of her fears? Would she dare to embrace this unforeseen love, risking everything she knew for something far more precious? The storm raged on outside, but within those walls, an unspoken connection surged between them, electric and terrifying. May needed to know where this path could lead, but uncertainty lingered, and the choice was still hers to make. As the wind howled, she felt her heart teetering on a ledge. Was she ready to leap into the unknown? The thunder rumbled outside as they stood still in the flickering light of the living room. May could feel the tension, thick and almost electric, as Jake searched her eyes. She opened her mouth, but the words didn't come. Instead, her heart beat loudly in her ears, drowning out the storm. "What if I took a leap right now?" she whispered, her breath shaky but her voice steady. Jake's expression shifted. A flicker of hope ignited in his blue eyes, transforming the uncertainty between them. "What do you mean?" Maybe I could give us a chance." The weight of her words settled between them like a fragile truce. "Really?" His voice cracked slightly, betraying a vulnerability that stirred something deep within her. He stepped closer, their breaths mingling in the charged space. "You've thought about this?" "I haven't stopped thinking about it since the day we met." She paused, searching for the courage to expose her true self. "But choosing you feels complicated." "My family, my responsibilities." May, he interrupted softly, reaching out to tuck a strand of hair behind her ear. The touch sent a shiver down her spine, warmth spreading through her like the sunlight that peeked from behind clouds after a storm. "You deserve to take a risk. What if we stopped letting fear control us?" His words settled in her chest, resonating like a drum. In that moment, she saw a future, a picture of laughter, shared dreams, and a love unshackled by doubt. But could she really dare to step into that light? "I could pretend to be your girlfriend," she said, half joking, half serious, testing the waters. "Just to see what it feels like." Jake chuckled, relief washing over him. "A pretend girlfriend sounds like an adventure." "Yes, an adventure," she echoed, the the rhythm of her heart sinking with newfound excitement. But with an end date. Just until the storm calms down. Deal, he replied, a broad smile spreading across his face, lighting up the shadows that lingered. The laughter that followed echoed through the room, reverberating against the stormy backdrop. The heaviness between them began to lift, replaced by a sense of shared daring. May couldn't ignore the warmth flourishing within her, a feeling she hadn't allowed herself to explore before, but mere moments into this adventure, a significant question gnawed at the back of her mind. Would she be able to keep it just a game? And what happens when the calm approaches and the illusion must come to an end? As May scrutinized Jake's joyful expression, the weight of reality pressed against her. This wasn't just fun, it was taking them into unknown parts of their hearts. The lights flickered again, shadows growing ominous. In the clamor of the storm, she sensed something stirring deeper within her. Maybe this journey would unveil truths she hadn't even prepared for about both of them. Jake, what if May started? But the crash of thunder silenced her. His eyes searched hers, filled with something intense, something that made her doubts seem smaller. What if we just enjoy this together? The promise hung in the air like the heavy scent of rain-soaked earth. May felt caught between exhilaration and fear, navigating this precarious dance. Could she put aside her anxieties, just for a moment, as the first sparks of their daring choice ignited? The world outside shifted, the storm still raging, but a different kind of storm brewing within her. What would tomorrow bring? And could they truly survive the fallout? The gusts outside howled like restless spirits, shaking the windows and sending a ripple of unease through May. She stood there, feet rooted to the floor, heart racing as if it wanted to leap out of her chest. This was more than pretending, this was inviting chaos. What if Jake was more than just a pawn in her life? What if he became something irreplaceable? Okay, she said suddenly, her voice steadying. Let us enjoy it. Jake's grin widened, revealing sincerity that sent warmth flooding through her. The thrill of the decision danced in the air between them, every pulse of laughter echoing with possibilities. We need to set some ground rules, she said, her brow furrowing as the excitement dulled for a moment. No falling in love. That's definitely off the table. He raised his eyebrows playfully. What if I can't help it? Nice try, she shot back, but a smile escaped despite the serious tone they attempted. All right, let us start easy. If you're going to be my pretend boyfriend, you've got to help me with my family's weekend barbecue. Jake cocked his head, feigning innocence. Will I be cooking or just impressing everyone with my charming personality? Let us go with charm for now, she replied, casting her gaze toward the window. Their judgment can be intense. Consider it done, Jake said, confidence radiating from him. May felt a rush of gratitude. For the first time, she imagined the future a summer filled with laughter that echoed with the sound of family and community. It felt possible. Outside, the storm started to soften, a lull settling in. But inside, May was a whirlpool of conflicting emotions. She was about to step into an arena she hadn't ventured into in years. The barriers she had erected to protect her heart were teetering on the brink of collapse. What about you? Any rules? She asked. It's simple. Just be yourself. That's all I need. His sincerity hit her like a warm breeze on a chilly morning. May's chest tightened. You're not nervous about this? Not even a little, he said, firmly. With you? I think we'll be fine. His confidence was infectious, and she felt herself smiling again. Could this really be the beginning of something real, even if it was wrapped in a pretense? As they discussed the arrangements for the barbecue, their laughter wove through the air, stitching their hearts tighter. Just then, May caught herself wondering what her family would think, not just about Jake, but about the way he made her feel. The more they shared about their lives, the more May felt the weights of her responsibilities slip. The walls she had so carefully built started to crack, revealing a glimmer of who she wanted to be. Suddenly, a loud crash of thunder jolted her back to reality. The storm outside began to claw its way back, resonating with the chaos in her mind. Jake, what if this becomes more than pretend? The question burst forth before she could stop it, shadowing her heart with uncertainty. Jake stepped closer, concerns deepening in his eyes. What are you afraid of? Losing what we're building or flashing back to the past? Different things, maybe both. She could hardly breathe as she clung to the truth of her words. May, he said gently. Let us take this one moment at a time. For now, it's just about us, right? She nodded, but doubt lingered like a ghost. As they stood there, the storm still raging outside, May felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her like a thick fog. What if this was just the beginning of a journey she wouldn't be ready for? Her heart raced with both fear and excitement. Before she could make sense of it all, Jake leaned in, brushing his lips against her temple. The lightest touch, yet it sent shimmering sparks dancing through her. With one fleeting moment, so much changed. The reality sank in deeper than any storm outside. But as May stepped back, breaths matching in rhythm, she realized something crucial lay ahead. Could she truly open herself to a love that felt so real while still holding on to her fears? And as the night deepened, swirling with possibilities, she wondered just how far this pretend relationship could go. The days leading up to the barbecue felt like a blur for May. She swung between giddy anticipation and paralyzing doubt, her heart rhythmically thumping with the pull of new emotions. Each time she saw Jake, a part of her couldn't help but lean in closer, yearning for that connection that now felt electric and alive. Are you ready for this? She asked him one afternoon, both excited and apprehensive. They were seated at a local cafe, the chatter of the evening crowd enveloping them like a soft blanket. Jake leaned back in his chair, flashing that signature smile of his. As ready as I'll ever be. Plus, they like me already, thanks to your glowing reviews. There was a playful tone in his voice, but May could see the edges of seriousness lurking beneath. I want them to see what I see when I look at you, she confessed, her heart racing as she felt the weight of her vulnerability pressing against her. What if they don't like what they see? Jake reached across the table, his fingers brushing against hers. May, they'll see you happy. That should be what matters most. The warmth from his touch sent little tremors through her, awakening feelings she'd buried far too long. She pulled her hand back, feeling a flush creep up her cheeks. Right. Happy. Just don't mess it up, okay? Me? Messing it up? Never, he teased, but his eyes held a glimmer of understanding as if he knew the stakes were higher than mere pretension. As the barbecue day dawned, May laid out her best summer dress, its light fabric drifting around her like a gentle breeze. She practiced her smile in the mirror, adjusting her hair, but no matter how hard she tried, doubt twisted in her stomach like a snake. Would her family notice the chemistry? Would they question the authenticity of their relationship? The smell of smoke and grilled meats filled the air as May stepped outside, greeted by her lively family bustling about, setting up tables and readying for guests. She felt dizzy with both excitement and apprehension. It was time to introduce Jake as more than a friend. When he finally arrived, the sun dipping low, casting a warm glow on his features, May felt her heart skip. He was every bit as charming as she hoped, maybe even more. He greeted her family with ease, his laughter echoing against the backdrop of beers clinking, children playing, and the distant chatter of neighbors. Okay, so I might have told your mom I'm a master on the grill, he whispered conspiratorially, a smirk dancing on his lips as they hid behind the food table. Jake, you can't just go around promising those kinds of things. May's voice was half chastisement, half delight. Just think of me as the knight in shining armor, or apron, he replied, flipping a burger with a cartoonish flourish. Everything felt suddenly lighter, more natural. As the evening wore on, the warmth of the atmosphere soaked into May's spirit. She found her arm brushing against Jake's as they shared stories and laughter, her family's curious glances morphing into approving smiles. Wait! Her cousin shouted in recognition, snapping a picture of the two of them. Wow! You two look perfect together. That innocent comment sent a wave of heat across May's cheeks. She wasn't just pretending anymore, and suddenly that idea of more than pretend loomed larger than ever. Jake caught her eye across the table, his gaze soft but playful. Their silent connection spoke volumes, enough to make May's heart race. But then the nagging worry edged back in. What if she was playing with fire? As the sun set and the grill crackled, May felt herself drawn deeper into a whirlpool of feelings. With every laugh shared, every lingering look between them, she questioned if she was truly ready for the consequences of this charade. But just as the moment seemed perfect, May spotted the familiar face of someone she never expected to see. Lurking near the edge of the gathering, someone from her past who could unravel everything. What would they reveal? The outdoor lights flickered on, casting a soft glow as May's pulse quickened. There, standing at the fringes of her joyous barbecue, was Ryan. Her high school ex, who had moved away without so much as a goodbye, now bore the weight of every happy memory and painful regret in equal measure. The laughter around her faded, replaced by a suffocating silence in her mind. May, Jake's voice broke through her haze. He turned, his eyes bright as he waved her over to the grill. But she couldn't move. Instead, her gaze fixed on Ryan, who seemed out of place yet somehow right at that moment. Ryan had transformed. Gone were the awkward teenage quirks. He now stood tall, a confident man whose eyes darted between May and Jake. Just a few yards away, laughter erupted again, but it felt muted, as their shared past loomed over the gathering like an impending storm. Is that? Her cousin's voice carried a note of surprise. I thought he moved. What is he doing here? Caught off guard, May felt exposed, torn between past and present. I don't know, she muttered half-heartedly, her heart racing. Did she want to face him? Did she have the courage? Hey, everything okay? Jake's brow furrowed with genuine concern as he approached her, totally unaware of the turmoil brewing just beyond their little bubble. Yeah, just give me a second. The words barely slipped past her lips as she clamped down hard on her emotions, willing herself to navigate through the chaos. May, Ryan's voice blossomed with a sense of nostalgia, much too loud in the reality they now shared. Ryan, she finally responded, forcing a smile that felt more like a grimace. Jake watched the exchange, tension flickering between them like a fragile spark. I'll be right back. He hesitated, worry shadowing his features before he turned to join the others. Wow, long time no see. Ryan took a few steps forward, hands shoved deep into his pockets as he regarded her. Didn't he think I'd run into you like this? You look great. Thanks. The word felt like an echo, ricocheting off the walls of her heart. She hadn't expected this turn of events, and each second stretched long and heavy like a weight around her neck. The young couple exchanging baked beans at the table suddenly felt far away, their laughter like small birds flitting just out of reach. May bit down on her lip. What are you doing here? Just visiting family. I heard about the barbecue from a friend. Figured I'd swing by. Can't believe I walked right into you. Yeah, it's awkward, she admitted, casting a glance towards Jake as he chatted animatedly. I'm kind of busy with I saw. Ryan raised an eyebrow, a hint of something inscrutable in his gaze. It was impossible to tell if it was envy, curiosity, or something deeper. So, you and him? He asked someone special. The words felt more like a promise than a declaration, a silent testament to her determination to move forward. Special, huh? I hope he knows what he's getting into, Ryan replied, revealing a smirk that was all too familiar. A chill raced down her spine. And you? What are you getting into, Ryan? Just seeing what's out there, he shrugged, playing it off as if it was as easy as finding a spare ketchup bottle at a barbecue. But May's heart raced, feeling the weight of those choices press down on her. She thought of Jake's laugh, how he made her feel alive and seen. This was not the place or time to dredge up old ghosts. Just as she opened her mouth to respond, May caught sight of Jake moving back towards them. She felt a panic rise. This was supposed to be their moment, her first step out of the shadows of doubt into a light that felt like hope. Would Ryan take that away from her? Would her past collide with her present in a way that could shatter everything she had just begun to build? Amid all these swirling thoughts, Jake reached them, his expression shifting from confusion to warmth upon seeing her. Hey, everything okay? May glanced between the two men, the pull of old emotions competing with the thrill of new beginnings. The music of the barbecue faded as she realized she was standing at a precipice, one that could define her future. Yeah, just a little catching up, she said, keeping her voice steady. But inside, Her heart was racing like the engines of all the memories she wished to forget. As Jake shot a questioning glance at Ryan, the air crackled with tension. May felt the weight of the moment, knowing that as each heartbeat echoed around her, a decision loomed closer. Would she push through, embracing the love Jake offered, or would the footsteps of her past drag her under? The night held its breath, waiting for the choosing to unfold. Jake's smile faded as he noticed the way May's eyes flickered between him and Ryan. She felt his gaze search her face, looking for answers she wasn't sure how to give. The laughter from the barbecue faded into a distant hum, allowing the air between them to thicken with unspoken words. "What is going on?" Jake asked, confusion creeping into his voice. The warmth of his presence slipped a bit, replaced by an entanglement of jealousy and concern. "Nothing," May said quickly, her instincts kicking in to shield Jake from discomfort. "Just an old friend." "Old friend, huh?" Ryan interjected, his tone light but the weight of his words unavoidable. "We go way back a lifetime ago, really." "Yeah, that's one way to put it," May replied, forcing a smile as she felt Jake's eyes narrow slightly. She had to break the tension. "Jake, this is Ryan. We knew each other in high school." "Nice to meet you, Ryan," Jake said, extending a hand, though his expression remained cautious. May could feel his tension, almost like the weight of a secret hanging between them. "You too." Ryan clasped Jake's hand with a firm shake, but May sensed the competition bubbling beneath the surface, a silent challenge neither man was ready to verbalize. Jake returned his focus to May, his expression shifting, brows raised in a reluctant inquiry. "You sure everything is all right?" "Yeah, just catching up like I said." May's heart raced as she attempted to keep her tone light. But the distant memories threatened to drown her. "So, what is new in your life?" Ryan asked, a hint of nostalgia in his voice. "Did you ever end up going to that art school you talked about?" The memories flooded back, painting every weekend, her dreams lined with color and ambition. But they were tinged now with her feelings for Jake and the path she chose. "I got a job at a local gallery," she replied, trying to balance honesty with the urgency of the moment. "It's pretty great." "Just pretty great?" Ryan smirked. "I always thought you'd do amazing things, May." His words sliced through her, a mix of pride and longing. Would she ever not feel that part of her was still tied up in what could have been? Just as quickly as the thought surfaced, she felt Jake's hand reach for hers, grounding her back to the present. "Hey, how about you? What has been going on with you?" Jake's voice was calm, but May could sense the undercurrents. He wanted to divert the focus away from her. Ryan shrugged, a casual facade barely masking his deeper emotions. "Just living life, you know? Traveling, exploring, trying to figure things out." "Figuring things out," May echoed, her heart heavy with untold stories. "Sounds nice." The atmosphere grew thick with tension again, and May sensed they were all holding their breaths, waiting for something inevitable. "But you can't figure out everything, right?" She pushed forward, almost as if testing the waters. "Sometimes it just happens, or it doesn't." Ryan met her gaze, surprise flickering in his eyes. "Yeah, I guess you're right. Sometimes you just have to take a chance." His words hung in the air, resonating far beyond casual conversation. Jake tightened his grip on May's hand, an anchor amidst the rising tide. "Well," he said, a note of finality in his voice, "I'd love to hear all about your travels, Ryan, but I think it's time we all get back to the party." "Yeah, sure," Ryan replied, his face shifting to mask disappointment, though it did little to dim the spark of their interaction. As they turned to rejoin the lively crowd, May's tension was palpable. She was walking a thin line, precariously balanced between embracing her future with Jake and slipping back into the comfortable shadows of her past with Ryan. Would she find the courage to step firmly into the light, or would the past tug her back into old patterns? The barbecue buzzed around her, filled with life and laughter, but suddenly it all felt unreal, a backdrop for the unfolding drama in her heart. Jake turned and caught her eye. "Hey, I really like you, May." His sincerity washed over her like a warm breeze, making her smile genuine for the first time that night. "No matter what, just remember that." But even as he spoke, May could see Ryan watching them from a distance, a question lingering in his eyes. Did he want to bridge the past that lingered between them? Before she could answer his silent plea, the crowd around them erupted into laughter over something she couldn't catch, drawing her attention away. But as her heart beat wildly in her chest, one chilling thought gnawed at her. What if Ryan wasn't done with her yet? The night pulsed with uncertainty, and May felt the rhythm of her choices begin to shift once more. As the laughter surrounded them, May felt a pressure in her chest. She glanced back at Ryan. He had transitioned from the playful presence of an old friend to something more ambiguous. Could he remain just a distant memory? A staple of her youth left back at the high school cafeteria? The flicker of hope she had seen in his eyes unsettled her. "Let us grab a drink," Jake suggested as he pulled May away from the thickening tension, his hand still possessively wrapped around hers. They stepped into the makeshift kitchen, the chaos of the party fading behind them. However, even out of sight, May could still feel Ryan's gaze etching into her back. Jake fished a beer from the cooler. "Want something else?" he asked, his voice warm, yet strained. "No, this is perfect," May replied, forcing a smile. She could feel the cool label between her fingers, but it was Jake's hand she truly wanted to cling to that moment. They leaned against the counter, Jake taking a quick sip before glancing back at her. "Everything okay?" "Just old friends catching up," she said lightly, though she wished she could unload the burden of her thoughts. "You don't have to pretend with me, you know," Jake said softly, his brow furrowing with concern. His sincerity cut through her, the remnants of her worries swirling like autumn leaves in a brisk wind. "It's complicated, Jake," she confessed. She hesitated, searching for the right words. "I just thought I had closed that chapter. Seems like Ryan might think the story's still open." His gaze flickered back to where Ryan stood outside the kitchen, his features molded by shadows cast from the party lights. "I didn't think he'd come back," May admitted, the weight of that truth unsettling. "I was just trying to figure things out too, back then." Jake's expression shifted, a hint of understanding mixed with his earlier jealousy. "What do you want?" he asked, vulnerable yet steady. "I want to be here," she replied, the urgency pushing her forward. "With you. It's just, sometimes the past haunts you unexpectedly." "Does it haunt you, May?" His voice was low, weighted with emotion. "What happened back then? Or is it just Ryan?" She wanted to shield him from her past, but found herself staring at the depths of his eyes instead. "It's just, he was a big part of my life. But I've moved on. I promise you that." Jake stepped closer, brushing his thumb over her knuckles. "I only want you to be happy. I trust you." The sincerity in his voice revitalized her spirits. Still, doubt lingered. It coiled tightly in her stomach, whispering that she hadn't truly resolved her past. Yet, as Jake leaned in closer, her heart melted away the fear, at least for the moment. Outside, the laughter erupted once more, and May turned her head instinctively as if drawn back to the chaos. The festive energy pulsed through her like an electric wave, igniting old memories that danced just beyond her reach. "What do you say we find a quiet spot under the stars?" Jake's smile was inviting, and she felt a yearning for that intimacy again. "Yeah, let us escape this for a bit," she replied, appreciating his effort to uplift their spirits. As they slipped outside, the cool night air enveloped them. Jake took her hand again, intertwining their fingers with ease. Above them, the sky was a canvas of brilliant stars, a beautiful reminder that some things shine brightest in the darkness. But just as she began to feel a sense of solace, laughter echoed from the other side of the yard. Ryan was telling a story to a few other guests, his words cutting through the night air like arrows aimed straight for May's heart. Jake's grip tightened on her hand as if sensing her unease. "Do you want me to introduce you?" "No," May shot back, too quickly. She sighed, glancing back at Ryan. "I just need some space to breathe." "Then let us take it," Jake replied, determination lacing his tone. They walked further away, the laughter fading, the deeper conversations about her and Jake's relationship swirling like autumn leaves in a gentle breeze. Yet, as much as May wanted to move forward, she couldn't shake the Feeling that the shadows of her past lingered too close, and deep inside, she wondered, was she truly ready to face both the spark of her past and the warmth of her present? One question loomed large in her heart. What truths would be uncovered if she dared to confront Ryan once more? May and Jake stepped onto the back porch, the wooden boards creaking beneath their feet. The stars above twinkled brightly, but her mind was shrouded in clouds of uncertainty. The laughter from the party faded into the distance, but in her heart, it echoed loudly. She fought hard to focus on Jake, who stood next to her, his presence warm and grounding. "You know, the stars look amazing tonight," Jake said, tilting his head back to admire the night sky. There was an ease about him, a quiet confidence that May had always found comforting. "Yeah," she agreed, her voice barely above a whisper. But instead of the stars, her eyes drifted toward the flickering lights from the gathering. She could feel Ryan's presence like a pulsing ache, an uninvited guest in her mind. "They don't seem to help with clarity, do they?" Jake turned to face her, concern etching across his features. "What's really going on, May?" His voice was firm yet gentle, like he was peeling back the layers she had carefully crafted. She hesitated, the words tumbling around in her throat. "I thought I could just forget about everything when I left. About us, about Ryan. But then tonight, it's like all those feelings came rushing back." "You're not alone in this," he reminded her, stepping closer. "I'm here for you no matter what. Just talk to me." May looked into his eyes, searching for reassurance. What if he wants to reconnect? What if he wants to pick up where we left off? Panic surged in her chest. Did she even want that? Jake's face hardened briefly before softening with understanding. "Does that frighten you?" "Yes." "No. I don't know." She tossed her hands into the air in frustration, the weight of her emotions spilling out. "I thought I was over him, that I was ready to move on. But now seeing him again, it brings up all these questions." He paused, his gaze steady and unwavering. "Then maybe you need to confront those questions head-on. Not everyone gets to write their past neatly. Sometimes, we just need to face it." His words struck a chord within her. What was she really afraid of? "What if I find out that I still have feelings for him?" she asked quietly. "Then we deal with it. Together. But you can't decide what's best for you without knowing how you truly feel." Jake's grip on her hand tightened, grounding her, as if drawing strength from his warmth. May took a deep breath, the chill of the night colliding with the warmth radiating from him. "You're right. I owe it to myself to find out. It's just, what if it changes everything between us?" Jake smiled softly, brushing a stray hair from her face. "We'll figure it out. If we are meant to be, we can withstand anything." A moment of silence passed, weighted with the uncertainty that now felt heavy yet somehow freeing. May's heart danced between the fear of the truth and the gratitude for Jake's unwavering support. "Okay," she finally said, her voice steadied with resolve. "I'll talk to him. Just to understand what it all means." "Good. Just remember, you have me, no matter what." He leaned in, pressing a tender kiss to her forehead, and in that simple act, she felt the fear begin to dissipate. But as they stood together beneath the vastness of the sky, a new question settled in May's mind. What if confronting Ryan opened doors she never expected? What if the heart could be both loyal and restless at the same time? Before she could explore those thoughts further, the back door swung open and Ryan stepped out, his eyes sparkling with laughter and life. But when he saw May, that laughter faded into something unreadable, something heavy hanging in the air between them. And in that moment, May realized this encounter would change everything. Would she dive into the past she had tried to escape, or find closure and embrace the future with Jake? As May stood there, the tension swirling like the summer breeze, she felt her heart jump at the sight of Ryan. He seemed older, wiser, but beneath it all, she could still see the shadow of the boy she once shared her dreams with. The air grew thick with unspoken words, and May felt as if the universe had conspired to bring her to this very moment. "May," Ryan said, his voice breaking the silence. Can we talk?" She hesitated, glancing at Jake. His expression was unreadable, but his presence radiated strength, grounding her in the whirlwind of emotions. With a deep breath, she nodded. Yeah, okay. Ryan stepped closer, his gaze flickering to Jake before settling back on May. I didn't expect to see you here. It's good to see you. I mean that. Thanks. You too, she replied, her voice steadier than she expected. As they moved a little away from the bustling party, May felt Jake's protective gaze on her. It comforted her, yet part of her ached for a moment of vulnerability with Ryan. What has been going on with you, May? Ryan asked, his brow furrowed in concern. When I heard you were back in town, I couldn't help but wonder. She swallowed hard, feeling the memories invade her space. The laughter they once shared, the world left unbuilt. Things have been complicated. Life is complicated, he interjected gently, his eyes reflecting a mix of longing and uncertainty. But seeing you again makes me think of what could have been. What could have been, May echoed softly, feeling the weight of their shared past. But I've made a life for myself. I'm happy, I think. Ryan stepped closer, sincerity flooding his expression. I never wanted to hurt you, May. When I left, it felt like I was abandoning not just you, but my dreams too. Every painting you tried to show me, every late night in that old garage, it still lingers. The memories flooded back, her passion intertwined with his dreams, two kindred spirits lost in the hopes of tomorrow. I remember the plans we made, she replied, voice cracking. But life took us in different directions. He nodded, deep understanding in his eyes. I get that. But seeing you now, it's like a part of me still hopes we could find our way back. His voice trailed off, vulnerable and raw. At that moment, she felt the ground shift beneath her. Their conversation harbored the potential to either mend or break. Ryan, she began, not knowing how to navigate their history. Suddenly, Jake approached. Hey, he said smoothly, laying a hand on May's shoulder, a subtle but clear message of support. You okay? May realized how much she needed him just then. Yeah, we're just talking about the past. Jake glanced at Ryan, his expression cool and confident. The past should stay in the past, right? May has a bright future ahead of her. That's exactly what I'm worried about, Ryan chimed in, drawing May's attention back to him. What if she has regrets? No regrets, she declared, her voice stronger now. I'm happy with where I am, with who I'm with. The words hung in the air, a quiet assurance meant for Ryan, but also for herself. Ryan's expression shifted, respect threading into his features. Then I won't stand in the way. I just thought maybe we could have more closure. May nodded, her heart pounding. We can have closure. I think it's necessary for both of us. Before she could continue, Jake wrapped his arm around her waist, grounding her even more. Let us make it a positive step. One that honors where you've come from, but doesn't hold you back from moving forward. At that moment, it felt like the storm of their histories was beginning to dissipate. May felt the warmth of possibility fill her heart as she faced Ryan one last time. I will always cherish what we had. But we need to go our separate ways. Ryan's eyes softened, and he nodded. I get it, May. I truly do. Just know, I'll always be rooting for your happiness. Thank you, Ryan. That means a lot, she said, relief washing over her like a tide. Turning back to Jake, May felt the full power of her choice. She smiled at him, the warmth in her chest spilling into the night air. I am ready to embrace what's next. Jake beamed at her, a shared understanding passing between them. Together, they faced the lively commotion of the party, laughter and fun swirling around them like a well-loved song. As the stars twinkled above, May felt free to embrace her past and free to step confidently into her new beginning. Every choice led her here, to the love of someone who truly saw her, and the journey ahead felt electric. Hey, Jake exclaimed, breaking through her thoughts. Let us get back to the barbecue. My grilling skills need an audience. With laughter bubbling up inside, they rejoined the crowd, hand in hand, a testament to healing, growth, and the unbreakable bond formed in the storm of life. And in that moment, May realized that every storm has its silver lining. She was ready to dance under the stars, with a heart open to any adventure that awaited, grateful for every step that brought her closer to the real her. Now, if you felt inspired by May's journey and the choices she made, You need to subscribe to this channel immediately. Don't wait not even one more second. Throw that like button a bone to keep the algorithm alive. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about May's transformation. And you must share this video with at least 5 friends who appreciate a good story of growth. This is the moment to show your support.